Hello, I'm Tim Moody, President and CEO of Pan Global Resources. We're a copper exploration company with projects in Spain.
Tim gets here. We're at PDAC, freezing cold, minus 50 degrees.
Yeah.
It's bracing, shall we say.
Yeah.
You've been here a few days, had a few minutes already.
Yeah, got here on Thursday and straight into a meeting, and it's been busy already, so I've got full days ahead of me.
Yeah, no, we popped over to the conference. It looks like everyone's here, as per usual. 25,000 of my favourite people. Right, 2025, big year for you guys.
Yeah.
A lot in terms of deliverables, there's a lot being talked about. So maybe can you give us those headlines and we'll kind of drill down into each of those.
So as you know, we did quite a successful financing at the end of last year. Yep. So we were 3 times oversubscribed, end up with what, 7 million in the bank. So that gave us the motivation, I guess, not that we needed any, to really launch a more aggressive program this year. So we've got a multi-target program aimed at making new discoveries. So firstly, on the Escacena Project area in the Iberian Pyrite Belt, we're really trying to extend and delimit the extent of the near-surface mineralisation at La Romana ahead of publishing the maiden mineral resource estimate sometime in the second half of this year. The second objective, which is the really exciting thing in many respects, is that we're trying to drill at least 5 new targets around La Romana. So why is that important? One, if we make a discovery, and then we could really boost the share price. But for us, it's also really helpful key in some respects, to try and make another discovery to get that scale that could bring us up to the level where we can compete with the other big producers in the area. So that's the Escacena Project. The new project in the north, we set out really 2 objectives. One was to start the systematic exploration, which we have done, and we've already published some of those results. And then second, to try and drill maybe 2 of the targets that we've already identified, Providencia and Profunda. So,
A lot going on. Obviously, people got excited about some of the initial grades that you're indicating on the gold project up in the north of Spain. And I'll come back in a second about how people value that, because I don't think many gold exploration companies are getting credit for some of the work that they're doing, right? Because it's a little bit further away. Let's go down to down the south, because you're at the point where you're talking about putting a maiden resource together. That, I guess, is something that you're going to be judged by. So you've got to get that right. You've got to be, we know what you're aiming for. We've talked in the past about, we've got 20, 50, 100 billion tons type of category. Maiden resource is important for the right type of number out. So talk us through some of the drilling that's happening down there and what you hope to be able to kind of add to the story with it.
Yeah. So yes, you're right. Our objective here is really scale. Can we get to a scale that makes a difference? Now, we're fortunate in the location that we've got that we have something that I believe will be mined today. I think it will be mined at the smaller end of the scale. The economics look great if we're just trucking or conveyor belting the mineralisation, the ore, let's say, to one of the other nearby mines. So we're in a fortunate situation in that regard. But our goal here is to get something that really gets to that scale where we can sit alongside the other big producers. So drilling those new targets is really key for us. So if that answers the question.
Do you know what's interesting? I was looking through all your marketing material and so forth, and I saw that one picture someone had taken and saying, right, here's where I'm standing, and I can see 2 other mines to the left and the right. It's all pretty close. You're in the right district, that's for sure. But in terms of what they've been able to achieve,
it is like a brownfields project.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought that was quite interesting when just that one image, picture means 1,000 words, I guess. But talk us through, some of in terms of that scale thing again. If it doesn't quite reach the size that you want, there's a kind of DSO type.
Yeah, the fallback is we've got something that we truck or convey to one of the other mines. So that's if you like, that is the backstop to our share price. It's we've continued to de-risk that. Look, it's still growing. I mean, it is that La Romana is still open, and so that's what we're drilling, the near surface mineralisation off to the west at the moment,
Yeah.
but it is still very much open at depth. I mean, most of the drilling is less than 200 metres, and most of the deposit you can see is still very much open at depth.
Let's talk about that business model, because you use a key word there. That's the kind of backstop here, which we sort of ship this ore to people we can see down the road here, and we can monetize that clearly, and then that could finance not just G&A but actual drilling and expansion, kind of go after those big numbers that you're looking for in a market like that. How important is that?
Well, we're in a really fortunate situation in that we are so close to other mines, and we have perhaps the option to do that, which other producers may not have. So we're not in a remote location. We're in a mining-friendly area with all the infrastructure around us, big miners all around us. So
paved roads.
Yeah, so
and it's quite close by, so the actual trucking costs are,
we are within conveyor belt distance. So
is that true?
Yeah, so
Okay.
of others. So So look, if we start to get to 50 million tonnes, which we talked about before, then we start to move into an area where standalone project, the economics start to look much better.
Right.
Then if we get to 100 million tonnes, then we're as I say, that's the scale where we start to compete with the other big producers.
Okay, because I come back. We get into the weeds maybe when we're back in the UK on drilling specifically, but the business model is a critical thing here, because I literally just had a conversation in the conference just now with someone who's saying we've got all the grades we need, but we just if we follow the normal path, we're such a long way away from an event, and shareholders may not be there, and that's that worry. So they've kind of come up with something similar to yours, where you say, well, we can get access to capital if we do the DSO route. It funds everything that we need to do to get us to where we need to be. So we're still ambitious, but we've got to be realistic about funding that and not diluting the heck out of our shareholders to get there.
Yeah. So look, with the money we've got an aggressive program.
3 drills?
3 drill rigs turning.
Yeah.
The really exciting thing this year is we're testing lots of targets. I mentioned maybe 5 new targets around La Romana and Discovery. So, and 2 new targets up in this new project. So, I mean that if we don't make a discovery in one of those, I'll be surprised. Could we make 2? But perhaps we're in the right neighbourhood to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So, look, I think.
What type of drilling are you talking about? So we've got 3 drills.
3 drills, 7,000 metres. We expect to have that completed by the middle of the year.
Right.
So
what sort of depths are we talking about?
It varies. A lot of the drilling is shallow, like 200 metres, sort of thing. But there will be a few deeper holes, particularly on some of the geophysics targets, which we'll need to get down and see what's causing them. So
right. And in terms of like when we came to site to visit you, you were talking about the kind of copper tin component and the way that the ore body was structured. With these sort of extensions that you're going for, what are you expecting to find? What do you know at the moment from the geophysics?
Of course, geophysics is you never know what you're going to get until you drill it. So that's what we're trying to do at the moment. So we have targets along the interpreted trends that host the same mineralisation trends as La Romana, both to the east and to the west. So to the west, we've got a couple of targets called Cortico and Escacena. To the east, we have this really big one called Bravo.
Yeah, we've talked about before.
Yeah, so as you know, in that area. All the big mines are made up of not just single ore bodies, they're made up of multiple ore bodies. So that's why I say La Romana is a great foundation, but if we follow the path of all the other big producers, we'll try and add additional ore bodies to make the scale that we can stand alongside those others.
So in that case, given previous data and some of the neurology component to this is, what are you hunting for? What are you expecting to find when you're sort of targeting these?
Yes, so we use a combination of geophysics indicators and geochemistry as well. So a lot of the areas, is blanketed by a post-mineral cover. So hence the Romans didn't find everything in this area. So we use geophysics a lot and geochemistry, and geochemistry is very effective even through some of the covers we're finding out as well. So Look, we're in the world's premier volcanogenic massive sulfide district, so that's what we're looking for, VMS type deposits. These are high in sulfides,
Yeah.
and they can be very dense ore bodies. So that means they respond very well to a variety of geophysics techniques, whether it's IP or electromagnetics, but they can also be very, as I say, very dense, so they produce a gravity response. So a lot of the targeting work we do is based on gravity to start with. That's sort of the core, and then we follow it up with a variety of geophysics, geochemistry, and the more of the sort of coincident indicators, the higher the ranking, if you like, for drilling. And then we drill them to try and see if VMS style mineralisation is associated with those anomalies.
And you're getting more confident with the drilling in terms of hitting as a result of...
Well, look, as you know, the very first gravity anomaly we tested in the Escacena Project area, those first holes were discovery holes. Hole 1 and 2 both hit what's now, I believe, will be a mine at some stage. So we're now 180 holes on, and it's still growing.
I was just conscious, it's the conference. You've got places to be. You've got someone in about 15 minutes, and you've got to get there. Yeah. One last sort of before we finish the question, copper and gold, definitely the commodities of the moment. Mm-hmm. You got both, which is great.
With the project up in the north, which was
phenomenal.
Yeah, which is very new. We went up there looking for these sort of unusually high grade breccia pipes and copper, nickel, cobalt, and we're ending up finding quite significant gold.
So, it came out of the blue a bit.
Well, it was. There was no record of gold extraction in that area. I mean, the last mining was 100 years ago, but there's no record of gold extraction or exploration really. There's no for gold in that at those locations. So, look, we did some really, as you know, very diligent, careful exploration work. Nothing extraordinary, just good mapping, soil geochemistry and trenching, channel sampling, that sort of thing, and bang out pop this gold anomaly. And
well, I look forward to hearing more about that. And in terms of resource, what are you going to be allocating to that in 25?
In terms of costs, we're probably looking at maybe 20% or less of the budget at that project. I mean, it's a pretty low-cost program at the moment. Of course, we've had pretty extraordinary results straight away, but we're looking at now at 5 drill holes. We initially were talking 2 drill holes. Now we're talking 5 on the first target. So it's already expanded, and
the balance feels about right, given I think what the market is rewarding. And I think as you say, this MRE I think is going to be critical for you guys. It kind of sets you up in terms of what the plan can be. More importantly, in terms of helps people kind of start to understand maybe the potential value of this thing today before you start making through the phases. So. Tim, I'm going to wrap it up there because I know you've got places to be. Thanks for making the time for us. I do appreciate you coming and seeing us, okay?
Always good.